all right. I get it. I'm wonderful. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm glad you're all here, and we have a great panel. And you know what? This is going to be the funnest part. You haven't been here before.
I have not.
This is the part where we get to ask you any question we want. Just kidding. Okay, the gag law. Okay, this was when Joelle was here, but she's left now. Okay, as I have an implied contract with the state in which I receive a yearly lump sum from the Alaska Permanent Fund, would the law apply to myself and all other Alaskans? If not, why not? Wouldn't it be cool if no one if all Alaskans lost the right to petition our government? Oh yeah, that'd be great. This is interesting. I think that you could. I mean, obviously the question's interesting, but is your agreement with the state that you haven't been gone for over, what is it, 90 days, however long Sarah Palin was gone last year and probably still got the permanent fund. You know, you look at all those questions that you have to sign that you are telling the truth and that these are qualifications for you to get the funds. Is it a contract? Is it considered a contract? Is it considered an agreement?
Definitely not. It's basically an annual appropriation, if you get down to it, is what the dividend is, and the state can give it to you or not give it to you. There's certainly no contractual principles. But I think the point is a good one, and this is how my municipal clients feel, which is basically this proposition would limit the ability of so many organizations and so many people to go down and lobby in Juneau, and it's going to put us in a situation where, you know, any given Alaska city can't go to Juneau, but the oil companies can. I mean, why in the world would that be a good outcome for the state? Or
multinational companies like Rio Tinto and Northern Dynasty, who, if they were people, actual people, would be considered molesters. They have never had anything in their care that they did not destroy. Just saying, but they got rich off of it. Shannon, are you the one who has been spraying graffiti on Jay Rammers's billboard? The short answer is no. I didn't have to. He actually, whoever made those signs, I'm pretty sure was like wearing parachute pants and listening to a Walkman with like Sheena E on it or something. I don't know. It was really, sorry, Jay. You might give away free ice cream and cookies, but your signs, not so good. For John Aronno, where can I get one of those fantastic T-shirts?
These? This is it says labor contract. You say labor contracts like it's a bad thing because Alaska is one of the worst states in terms of on-the-job work injuries, and I wonder why. So you can get them. We have a shop. My wife and I print them ourselves. shop.alaskacommons.com.
Cool.
And this could be
They're wonderful. You know what? I keep hearing people rail against project labor agreements, and I wonder why they hate Alaskans. Because it's the only constitutional way that you can ensure preferred hiring of Alaskans.
Yeah, every constitution, every time we try to do an Alaskans first hiring, it's struck down as unconstitutional unless it's in a labor contract. And again, labor contract is not a bad word. It's the teachers, it's your firefighters, it's your police department, it's everybody that takes care of us. And why you would want to infringe upon them.
You just want to have people take care of you, John.
I do.
You're a communist and a socialist. Oh, I'm sorry, that's you.
No,
I keep mixing up my socialists with my communists.
It drives me crazy, and it's just we're supposed to take care of our own. And if private corporations, via Citizens United, via the fact that they lobby harder than anybody else and are capable because they have all these funds, the idea that we should have unions to scream like hell for the worker and the worker's rights, for people to say that that's a bad thing?
Well, collective bargaining is basically corporations of people that are just for the people's rights.
I want to say one good thing about the Sullivan administration, and that is that during these budget workshops that they're doing now, where they're forcing people to sit down and say, okay, you want to cut the budget, what do you cut? Okay, if you do that, they have taken the contracts off the table. In other words, they're very clear that the contract has already been decided. So that's not part of what people are working on.
So you're saying that doing the right thing is actually a good thing?
Yeah, I am.
Wow, you're right. Okay. Why do we get so much smaller than other countries? Which ones, like Iran or Iraq?
Well, I mean, this changes from time to time, but there's quite a lot of oil is now owned by governments, and we don't. That's just Short answer.
So we don't get to negotiate.
Well, so ExxonMobil is the largest privately held oil company, or publicly held oil company. It's the largest oil company in the way we think about it. But compared to the size of the Saudi Arabia's national oil company or Iran's national oil company, it's actually kind of teeny in the amount of total production.
Really?
Right. So the way it works everywhere else in the world, but America, is that the sovereign government effectively is the one negotiating what its take's going to be. And historically, Alaska followed the U.S. federal and Canadian models, where the government sort of stepped outside and just allowed the leases to sort of determine the take. But that's changing, and that's one of the things you see about ACES, is it greatly increased our government take, particularly at high oil prices.
Okay, won't big oil always have better lawyers than the state?
Well, I don't think so.
All right.
Well, I just think, if someone is really a crackerjack attorney, why wouldn't you go work for $500,000, $1 million, $2 million instead of doing a state job necessarily? I mean, my guess is if I were an oil company, I saw someone that was really good on the other side of the table, and I had a lot of money, I'd go get them. I would buy them.
It does happen, but the state of Alaska in particular has the resources and the ability and the money to pay to keep up in the sophisticated litigation. So assuming the state can keep its head on together long enough to go through a lawsuit without getting all wacky, then the state hires and has the ability to hire absolutely as good as legal counsel as the oil companies. And I've worked with Bill Walker for years, and we beat him all the time.
With a stick. There's a new way to do it. Ethan Berkowitz has said that the oil taxes have a shelf life of 15 years. ACE is only 3 years old. Why not propose his idea in 10 years?
I'm not even sure I know what that means. I'll pass that along.
Well, it may come up again, because I don't think it's going anywhere this time, but it might be wrong.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. What the hell? Why no ties? Are you a bunch of socialist communists? Please.
We're getting that a lot tonight.
Wait a minute, that's a dress code.
Please yell using best Dan Fagan voice. I don't have one. Although I understand.
I'll wear what I want!
Excellent.
I tell ya!
Oh, sweet Jesus, stop it. I don't want to choke again. To the panel, why does it seem that ballot initiatives are always leaning to the right? We've had things like, I don't think that they always do. Some years we have crops, but we've had banning aerial wolf hunting, which is considered a big lefty thing, or for people that aren't insane, the cruise ship. Yeah. And you know what? That was a ballot initiative where people industry spent so much money, and Alaskans just weren't bought on that one. We've had clean water, clean elections. We've had a couple. I don't think they're necessarily always that way.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of talk about having one to change the way the Fish and Game is run. And the question is, would it get by the Attorney General? Because the Attorney General could say, oh, no, these are the powers that are reserved to the administration or the legislature.
Organizational, too, though. I mean, you have to give credit where it's due. They are organized. They all show up. It's not, the left kind of, well, I show up in terms of, this subject, or I'm really passionate about this subject.
Right. They know
it's the herding cats thing.
It's ballot bait. Yeah. They know what gets people to and this is interesting. Any comment on Prop 2, which is the parental notification, to disclose criminal portion to healthcare providers on the petition sign-up sheets? Now, this went to court. The judge said, yes, you actually didn't show. You can't cherry pick the ballot initiative, but you got people to sign the ballot initiative without telling them that you were going to put in a criminal intent. Any comment on that it was still allowed to go on?
I think it's crazy, but you also had that with one, where you had these hired signature gatherers who were just telling people stuff that was flatly untrue and actually browbeating them into signing that thing.
And it was
I was
amazing.
browbeaten personally several times. So
did you sign it?
Well, of course not.
But it was amazing.
It's ridiculous, and also I happen to know about Howie Rich, so I knew what was going on with it.
They had, they would just send out emails. They would have highway exits that they would just have a giant sign. This is where you sign the petition. Everywhere you went during the last month or so, and it wasn't, you don't show up and you sit down and you have a consultation about what the ballot measure really is about. It's just, minors and abortions. and that's it.
Right.
And you don't need to go further than that, because on the surface, yeah, I'm going to sign that too, because I don't want any little kid going and getting an abortion on Saturday for fun or something like that, because that
Parents have
happens.
rights.
Right, but regardless of what the topic is, if you mislead people to get your petitions signed, to my way of thinking, then you don't get to go. It's like, okay, do you get to go to college if you fake all your transcripts? And then you go into registration, they go, you weren't very truthful on your transcripts, but here's your paperwork, here's your dorm. They don't do that. They're like, no, you can't do that. So I was surprised, because I think that it opens up the door for other people to do the same thing with ballot initiatives.
Well, the lawyer can answer this better, but I think the court opinions that I've read usually say, we can decide this later if we need to.
Courts don't want to be in the position of regulating what's on the ballot in this little short window before you have an election. They'd much rather handle it after. And so I think the overwhelming feeling of the courts is, let's let these things, if they meet the state law requirements, get on the ballot, and if there's legal problems, we'll resolve them down the road. Just like they don't want to tell legislators they can't vote on stuff before they vote. If there's a problem with the bill that's enacted, well, they've got all the time in the world to address it.
And Media Matters said recently that right now in politics there is no incentive to tell the truth. And that extends throughout. And until you fix that kind of culture of dishonesty, it's going to apply at all levels.
Okay, I'm not asking any more of your questions, because I want to talk about that. You don't have to tell the truth in political campaigning.
Yes.
It's actually to your disadvantage to tell the truth. It's more to your advantage to be either vague or, scripted, calculated.
But okay, how wrong is that? Are we on the same place where you are when you're saying the courts want to deal with it later? Because you look at these issues that come up, or someone could put up an ad and be like, so-and-so bites the heads off of birds and dances naked in the moonlight, and you could be like, no, I don't. They'd be like, oh, election day is tomorrow. That can totally happen. Corporations now can come in and run those sort of ads. Is the truth important in elections?
Well, I don't know how you limit what people can say when they advertise.
Right. I mean, it's a First Amendment, so you can be full of crap and run for office. Oh, look how many are. Apparently, that's a qualification.
Well, yeah, and then, broadcasting industry, I know, is even more hesitant, and they can really get in trouble for trying to contain the lies of that. So they basically stay away from it.
And you've also got people that have been kind of programmed to, these are the people I trust, these are the people I don't. You say, oh, I was dancing naked in the moonlight, blah, blah, blah. My initial reaction is, oh, what's the link for the YouTube? But then you'll
have to watch for that in the outtakes of more of ours. Thank you guys all so much for being here. This is going to be a really interesting election cycle. I think it's getting more exciting as we get closer to the primary. So thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be back next week with the next More Up North.